Welcome to Avalon State of the Arts, where we explore different components and dimensions of our school, Avalon School of the Arts, and its music counterpart, the Avalon Music Academy of Holland.
We're your hosts, Rich and Marie, and we look forward to sharing interesting topics about our school in a fun, easy-to-listen-to format.
Because my mom, who founded our school, taught me, if you're not having fun with this, then you're not doing it right. Hello, Avalonians, students, families, friends, fans, well-wishers. We're so excited to have you here. This is such a wonderful time of year for us here at the school. So much energy going on. Our dance department is getting ready for our dance recitals, which are going to be Friday and Saturday, June 7 and 8 at Holland Christian High School Auditorium. And I guess just to get an idea on the scope of all this, the capacity is about 750. So we have one show going on Friday, June 7th. Then we have 3 shows June 8th. And those are all going to sell out. So we're talking about 3,000 people that we get to be performing for at the dance recital. So obviously there's a lot of moving parts there. There's a lot of rehearsals going on. There's a lot of things happening, and it's just a wonderful time to be here at the studio and just see all this energy going on. We're also getting ready for our music recital series, which is the next weekend on Saturday, June 15, and Sunday, June 16. And we're running those pretty much all day long. We start in the morning, and then we keep on going all the way into the evening hours. They're going to be at Lawrence Park Amphitheater in Zeeland, which is a lovely outdoor place to listen to music and experience it in the setting of nature. Is a lovely time. So we're looking forward to that. And the drum recitals are going to be at the same place on Wednesday, June 19, from about 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's always a really a fun recital because all of our drummers get to pick a song and then they perform it with a live band. I actually play guitar and sing, and then we have another teacher who plays bass. So the students get a full-on live band experience, and it's just so much fun. So we hope to see you at any and all of those recitals. Also, in music news, we are getting ready for our big summer rush of new students for the summer. Summer is a great time to start music lessons because kids just have a lot more time without the concerns of school or homework or anything like that. It's a great time to be able to kind of take a deep dive into your instrument, and we have a lot of fun with students that begin in the summer. So to facilitate that, we have an Avalon Summer Music Lesson Pack special going on from May 21st through May 31st. Mention promo code SUMMERMUSIC and you get your first lesson for free. Free music books get you started, and a free accessory. Stringed instruments get a tuner, and voice and piano, you get musical flashcards. So it's a great way to get going with music lessons. We've got 3 easy ways to sign up. You can give us a call at 616-834-0854, 616-834-0854. You can shoot us an email to info@avalonmusicacademyofholland.com. That's info@avalonmusicacademyofholland.com. Or there's actually a contact page on our website, avalonmusicacademyofholland.com, and you can go in through there. Once again, just mention promo code SUMMERMUSIC. So we got a really cool episode for today. Marie and I are going to talk about pointe shoes, which is a topic that I know nothing about. So I'm really excited to learn more about pointe shoes. Here we go. Well, hello, Marie.
Hi, Rich.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really well.
You have been working so hard at the recital. How many weeks do we have until that happens?
We have like 3, but it's just kind of funny because it was our last Monday of classes actually, because next week is Memorial Day, and then the week after that, we start our rehearsals on June 3rd. And it's a little strange this year because we have that Tuesday rehearsal the day after Memorial Day. but then we don't have rehearsal the Tuesday of rehearsal week. Anyway, everybody just read your email. It's all detailed there. But it's just a little funny because Monday and Tuesday classes this week are having their last class before we rehearse on stage.
Yes, so read your rehearsal emails. And if you haven't had a chance yet, go back and listen to the podcast episodes about preparing for dance rehearsal day.
Yes.
And dance recital day.
Correct. And we also have on our website, if you go to avalonschoolofthearts.com/recital, that will give you access to all the information we've sent out in emails and all the attachments we have sent out with like the rehearsal schedule and whatnot.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, and it can feel really overwhelming, which is why I think it's important for people to have it in a couple different forms so that, sometimes if you read an email, you might be overlooking some details. But if you listen to the podcast, you might pick up on something you're supposed to know. But really, as long as you show up at rehearsal at the right time with your kid in costume, you're winning.
All right. Well, speaking of things that we don't know too much about, I'm excited about the topic for today's episode because this is really something I don't know anything about.
Yeah, this is actually one of my absolute favorite topics to talk about. I geek out on this, so I'm very excited.
So to me, this is like, I guess my visualization of it is when we do our Christmas Nutcracker, then sometimes some of the dances have people that are on point and it looks really cool, but I don't know anything about how like you get to that spot.
Yeah.
And what the background is.
Okay, so we're gonna touch on some of that today. Just a brief overview so that maybe other people who are in the same boat as you can kind of understand. Maybe they have a daughter who dances and she might be dreaming of getting her pointe shoes someday. And we're gonna kind of talk through a little bit about what that looks like at Avalon.
Okay, great. Because I think, to me, it does seem like that's one of the goals that dancers have as they move through the years of ballet. Sometimes.
And actually, that is a good thing to point out, is that this is a goal for a lot of dancers who love ballet and who grow up dreaming of their pointe shoes, but it's not everybody's goal. They may not want to make the commitment to what it takes to dance on pointe, and so we're going to get into that a little bit too.
All right, well, wonderful. Let's just go with the 101 level then. What are these things called pointe shoes? Do they physically make your toes point? What's the whole deal?
So a pointe shoe is it's a shoe that you wear on your foot that allows your foot to be supported in a way to allow you to go onto the tips of your toes. So a lot of people, if you don't know anything about pointe shoes, a lot of people think they're made out of wood or, have steel inside them or something like that. But really, a pointe shoe is made out of natural fibers. There's some burlap in there. There's paste. There's cardboard. And it's all put together by hand. Most pointe shoes are made by hand still in a very traditional way. And because they're made by hand, they're pretty expensive. We'll get into talking about that a little bit later too. But every pair of pointe shoes is made by hand out of these natural fibers, and they come in all different models, different strengths, so that they can support the foot in different ways to allow the dancer to then go past that demi pointe, which is where you're kind of on the ball of your foot. Like if you think about lifting your heels up off the floor, so just the ball of your foot is on the floor, that's called demi pointe. And then rising up to the tips of your toes would be on your full pointe. And you need a pointe shoe to do that safely.
Once again, in my layman's, that sounds pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Well, good. It is cool,
I think
actually.
I want to try it now. How long is this going to take me?
Well, actually, that would be a funny video to do, is if I fit you for some pointe shoes.
All right.
We got maybe do a YouTube on that. That would be hilarious.
So as far as Avalon goes, do most of our dancers go on to dance on pointe?
So it really depends on the dancer's goals. So at Avalon, we are really committed to meeting dancers where they are and helping them to achieve the goals and the dreams that they have. So we have some dancers who are 12 years old and that's their dream and they're moving in that direction with their training. And we'll make sure that they are getting the training and the skills and guidance they need so that they can achieve that goal and dance on point safely. But we have other dancers too who really, maybe they're not as passionate about ballet and they only want to take ballet once a week, or maybe they don't want to take ballet at all. If you don't take ballet at all, you're not going to dance on point. But for those dancers who are just taking ballet in addition to like tap, jazz, contemporary, more of a well-rounded, broad approach to their dancing, that's also fine. We have dancers of all ages that could be on point that have made a choice that that is not one of their goals, and that's okay. They're still able to participate fully at Avalon in lots of different ways dancing.
And there goes the Pointe shoe police. They're
yeah, I don't know if everybody will hear that siren going by.
So it seems like we have kind of like a system, a timeline, of, if you will. How old does a dancer need to be before they can go and wear pointe shoes and be on point?
So the industry standard for dancing on point is 12 years old, and there are a lot of different reasons for that, although different schools, different training methods can sometimes put kids on point younger than that. But at Avalon, we don't. We follow that industry standard of 12 years old. A couple of those reasons are you want to make sure that you've got enough training at that point so that your technique is good and you're strong enough. We want the feet to be close to done growing. Because pointe shoes are expensive, you can grow out of them really quickly. They have to be sized to fit the foot perfectly. And so if you grow even just a little bit, you're going to need to buy a new pair of shoes because they're not going to fit you anymore. And so if the feet are close to done growing, that's ideal because then you can wear your shoes until they wear out rather than growing out of them. And also, one of the things that's helpful about a dancer being 12 or a little older than that is the emotional maturity that they have and the dedication to dance in a way that really makes them take it very seriously. As with any form of exercise, there's potential to injure oneself if you're not being responsible when you dance in a pointe shoe. And so we really want to make sure our dancers are focused and understand the seriousness of what it takes to be a dancer who wears pointe shoes.
So I think maybe there'll probably be a few different answers to this next question, but how do you know if a dancer is ready for pointe shoes?
Okay, so we want to really look at a couple things that a dancer needs to exhibit before we know that they are ready to get their first pair of pointe shoes. Like I just mentioned, that maturity of their body and their mind is very important. We want to make sure that their body has the strength and the flexibility required to undergo the stress of dancing in pointe shoes. Their technique has to be solid. They have to know their terminology. They show us they're prepared to be serious about ballet by coming to class dressed appropriately. They're respectful to their teachers. And also they have a really good knowledge of what their ballet technique should be in whatever grade level they are studying at that time. So at Avalon, we do the Cicchetti method of training. That could be a whole other podcast episode, so I won't get into that right now. But our dancers who are 10, 11, 12 years old, sometimes a little older than that, start getting a little more serious in their ballet training in what is called grade 1. So usually you spend 2 years at each grade level, and then you take an exam. And it's kind of like karate belt testing, right? So you pass your test and you go on to the next level. So after a grade 1 exam, if a student passes their grade 1 exam, which all of our dancers do, because they're all very well prepared, they have a good foundation for their ballet technique. And definitely it shows a lot of maturity to take those grade level exams so that it shows us once a dancer has passed their grade 1 exam that they are on the right path toward being ready for their pointe shoes. But more specifically, we actually have a pointe assessment, which the dancers get to do several times a year so that they're familiar with what's required of them to be able to demonstrate, to show us that they're strong enough, they're flexible enough, and they're ready. And so those, it's a series of exercises that they go through to demonstrate their technique. And then we take notes on that. And if there are areas where they need to improve, like they need to get a little stronger or develop better turns or things like that, we give them feedback on that as well so that they know exactly where they are kind of on their journey.
Okay, so then if a dancer has dancing on point as a goal, what could they start doing right now to prepare?
Yeah, so we just finished up this spring. We did a pre-Pointe workshop series where every couple of weeks we did an hour and a half class on weekends where dancers could come in, and we talked about pointe shoes and all of the things we're talking about in this podcast, really about what the requirements are, but also they learned a lot of different exercises they can do on their own at home to help reinforce their ballet classes that they take once a week. Most of our dancers who attended that workshop were under the age of 12. And so these are kids who are a little on the young end for pointe shoes. So they got lots of information about how they can work at home in addition to their ballet classes here at Avalon, to start building that strength and flexibility and technique. And in addition, in their ballet classes, they will receive instruction from their teachers about proper technique and placement and exercises that they can do. So of course, taking ballet once a week is appropriate at the age, under the age of 12. But if dancers are really serious and they want to build their technique faster, they certainly can add a second ballet class. And one of the nice things about doing 2 ballet classes at Avalon is that if you enroll in 2 ballet classes, any additional ballet classes you want to attend during the week are free of charge. So you get your 2 ballet classes that you sign up for, and then you can drop in or sign up for and attend other classes to get stronger and to have more experience dancing. And there's no additional cost for that. We have a good little handful of students who are taking advantage of that, and it's really showing in their technique as well.
I think we started off with this saying in theater, but it makes its way into music lessons, and I think it probably makes its way into dance too, that repetition is our friend.
Absolutely. It's and also it's important to be consistent. So if sometimes after these workshops, kids get really super fired up about pointe shoes, and so they do their TheraBand exercises every day, and then they kind of forget about it and lose track. So one of the things we did in our workshop was we started little pre-Pointe journals so that the kids could write down in notes to themselves about the different exercises, and then keep track of what they've been working on. And, if they're doing their point and flex exercise with their TheraBand, like maybe they start with 10 repetitions on each foot and they repeat that 3 times. Maybe they work up to 15, the next month. So it's all about setting goals, really, and then keeping yourself accountable for those goals.
Great. So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I guess maybe to be more specific, what is the financial investment for families if their child is planning to dance on pointe?
That is a great question, and it's really an important one that should be discussed between the parents and the kids, and with us too, if people have concerns or want to really know what they're getting into. So, like I mentioned, if you dance on pointe, you have to take technique class more than once a week, and not just any dance class. You have to take ballet a minimum of 2 per week, and those are hour-and-a-half long classes. And so there is a financial investment there as well. But also a new pair of pointe shoes, like for a first pair of pointe shoes, plus the padding and the ribbon and the elastic you need to have everything you need, is going to cost about $125 for your first pair. And like I mentioned before, sometimes kids can have a growth spurt, you grow out of them, and then you need to replace them. So it's important to know that having the proper equipment, just like you would for hockey or for playing guitar, like having a quality instrument, like your body's your instrument in dance, so you need to make sure you have the equipment that supports that art form so that you can be successful. So, and then in this case is definitely having appropriate shoes. So yeah, it is a financial investment and it's a time investment too. So if everybody's on board, parents are supportive of funding Dancing on Pointe, and the kids are taking it seriously enough so that they are, putting in the time and the effort that's required of it, then if everybody's on the same page, I say it can be a really wonderful experience.
So once again, even from a layperson's opinion here, it seems to me that Dancing on Pointe can sometimes look like it's painful. Is it painful?
So I guess the best answer to that is that it can be. Anytime you're putting your full body weight on the tips of your toes, like there could be potential for discomfort, as I'm sure you could imagine. However, like I mentioned before with having proper equipment, if you have a properly fit pair of pointe shoes and you have appropriate padding for your feet and you are technically ready to dance on pointe, then you may have some level of discomfort, but there shouldn't be pain. And if there's pain, we talk about this all the time with dancers, right? There's a difference between being in pain and being uncomfortable, right? So dancers in a lot of different genres of dance can sometimes expect to have some discomfort, like when you're stretching or you're building strength to learn a new skill. That's no different than learning to dance in pointe shoes that can be expected to be uncomfortable. But if there's pain, that usually is an indicator that something's wrong. The shoe doesn't fit properly, your padding isn't correct, something like that. So, and also like how much do you dance on pointe? Beginners start off with a half an hour per week, sometimes 2 half hours per week. So while they may be uncomfortable a little bit, there shouldn't be any damage being done to their feet, I guess you could say.
All right. Well, I think I have heard everything I need to hear. I think the first step is I have to purchase my TheraBands. Yeah,
actually, we could. Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny if I taught you some TheraBand exercises. We should do that. That would be great.
All right.
But one more thing that I'd like to say too about Dancing on Pointe is that a lot of people know that I also own Attitudes Dance and Activewear, which is the dancewear store here in Holland. And we serve dancers from all over West Michigan. It's not just Avalon dancers who shop at Attitudes. And one of my greatest joys with that business is fitting dancers for pointe shoes. Over the years, I've learned a lot about how to troubleshoot issues people are having with their shoes, how to make it more comfortable, how to guide people in a way where they can be really successful dancing on pointe. Because nothing is more frustrating than being ready to dance on pointe and having everything ready to go, and then your shoes aren't fitting right, or you're not able to do the technique that you know you can do because you're struggling with your shoes. So that's been a really great thing, not only with our own Avalon dancers who are on pointe, but dancers from all over West Michigan that I've had the pleasure of meeting and fitting for pointe shoes. So it's really a fascinating industry. There are so many companies that make pointe shoes, and there's different technologies available for padding and things like that that really are made to suit dancers. Because when I was a dancer growing up, there was one dancewear store in Southeast Michigan where I grew up, and you went there and you got the one pointe shoe that they had in stock, which was the Capezio Pavlova, and nobody was comfortable in it, but by gosh, you just made it work. So there are more options for dancers now, and that's a great thing. So
definitely head to Attitudes for your pointe shoe and dancewear needs. You can catch them online at attitudesdanceholland.com. In the Holland Town Center, the number is 616-796-0372.
Yeah, if anybody needs a pointe shoe fitting, I'm more than happy to make an appointment for that.
Well, I have had a delightful time learning a lot about pointe shoes today. Thank you.
Oh, you are very welcome.
So everybody have yourself a wonderful week, and we'll catch you next Monday.
All right, take care.
Avalon offers dance classes, music lessons, and theater classes 6 days a week. With over 40 teachers, we have something for kids and adults and everyone in between. You can reach the dance and theater department at avalonschoolofthearts.com and the music department at avalonmusicacademyofholland.com.
Where dreams begin. dreams begin.